Good morning, everyone. This is the meeting of the Baltimore County House Delegation on this, what day is it? The 9th day of February? The 9th day of February, 2024. We have a number of pieces of business to take up today because of various schedules and making sure that we have people here for important things to do. We are going to start off with bill hearings today. We're going to go through those and then come around 9:30. And I see we have a senator here. You're welcome to hang around and listen in. We love you. But we are going to be doing mostly business now until a little bit before 10 o'clock. We've also had a substitution in our guest. The Senator Van Hollen is unable to make it. However, waiting patiently for a cancellation was Dr. Sandra Curtinitis of the CCBC. I almost say Catonsville Community College. Shows my age. Right. And she'll be standing by when we're done with our business to talk to us following that this morning. So we're going to start off with bill hearings. And we're going to take them in numerical order. And the first bill is House Bill 495, brought to us by Delegate Pasteur. And when she has some guests, but I'm going to give the floor to the good delegate, my recording secretary, to present her bill.
Is the amendment in the back.
Good morning, and welcome to the delegation, and welcome to. That's not the whole thing. There's two parts. It's two amendments to it. And welcome to our guests. I'm going to first go over what the bill involves, and then I'm going to talk about the changes that were made. And I want to thank the education chair, Kathy Forbes, who chimed in, as well as the chair of the commission, who chimed in with Senator Sidnor. So we were able, before presenting this, to come up with some amendments, and we agreed with it. So the purpose of the bill is to have far more transparency in alignment with what those 7 people who run for the board experience. In other words, we have the people who apply, and then the commission will look over the applications and they will narrow the list down, and they do the interviews. And then, of course, they make recommendations to the governor, who then picks the 4 people who will be the appointed members of the school board. And just as it happened when this current board came on, 3 were appointed, and then there was 1 that was left right after they had been appointed. So we wanted to streamline things because there were some glitches in terms of particularly the selection of the last one. So we wanted to make sure that everyone, whether they were able to be at every meeting or not, would be privy to interviews. And we're talking about the commissioners now. We're privy to the interviews, privy to deliberations and materials, but also to be inclusive for the public once they saw the final picks, if you will, and if they had any questions, like they could do for the people who ran for the positions. It also gives an opportunity for those who are elected members to have a sense of who the people are who have asked to be appointed. So the things that we have sent in terms of amendments, Justin, are you going to show this, or should I just talk through it, Mr. Chair?
We're doing a little roll taking here. I think you can. I think probably just to describe it, since it's available to people who want to look at it if they need to, would be adequate here. Okay.
So Senator Sidnor and I came up with some amendments. So on the first one, on the first page, we are making sure that everyone knows that we want the nominating commission to publish the names of the candidates for appointment to the board And it says on their website before interviewing them. Now, the interviews again will be in closed session because they can't interview everyone at the same time. So we want to make sure that everyone who is going to interview has the same opportunity in terms of answering the questions or responding to the questions. And again, the final deliberations will be among the commission members. But what is different is that it will be videotaped. So, as was the case in picking the last person, is that some folks weren't there, things were changed, maybe a date, people couldn't come, whatever the issues were. So now it will be videotaped. So in the event that a commissioner is not present when the interviews are done, they have an opportunity to go back and take a look at the interviews so that they may weigh in on the applicants, and understanding that decisions will be made from and with and by the total group, as opposed to any smaller group that might have been present. So everybody feels that they have had a voice, some buy-in to the selection, people on the commission again. And then the other piece of the amendment indicates that a time frame. So once the decisions have been made, there will be public announcements, and that, folks will be given or apprised within, if they have any questions about anything that transpired with the commission, within 48 hours, that will be, the responses to that will be given to them. The whole point is being transparent in terms of who's applying and the information that they're sharing. But things that are confidential will remain confidential, just as it is for members, elected members of the board, that there's some parts of a person's business, I'll say, that's confidential for the elected as well as for those who are appointed, but always making sure that it's as transparent for the appointed as it is for those that are elected, because they're all going to sit on the board as board members together. So as much as possible, one process should mirror the other. So I can answer questions, Mr. Chair, or you can go to the guest, however you tell me.
We will first go to the guests that you have here to testify. I will tell the people who are testifying that we 2 minutes for guests. I'm going to introduce them one by one, and they can weigh in on this with us. First, we have Tiara Booker-Dwyer, who is currently the chair of the Baltimore County Board of Education.
Thank you.
Ms. Booker-Dwyer.
Thank you. Good morning, Chair Ebersol, Vice Chair Jackson, and members of the delegation. I'm Tiara Booker-Dwyer, Chair of the Baltimore County Board of Education, and I am here to express support for HB 495. This bill is about transparency. It allows members of the Baltimore County community to know who is being considered for appointment to their school board. Appointed school board members like myself are not just responsible for one Baltimore County district. We are responsible for ensuring that we listen to and meet the needs of the entire Baltimore County community. As a result, all Baltimore County community members deserve to know who is being considered for appointment. The current process to appoint a board member is strong. There is robust application and interview process consisting of several checkpoints to ensure the selection of board members that are well positioned to uplift Baltimore County public schools. The only things that are missing in the process is transparency, ensuring that all nominating committee members have a voice, and a clear timeline. This bill addresses these gaps. Thank you, Delegate Pastura and Senator Signor, for bringing this very timely and needed bill forward. And thank you, Chair Ebersol, Vice Chair Jackson, and the delegation for your service. I'm requesting the delegation move HB 495 forward favorably. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have Molly Jose, who's a former school board member. Ms. Jose, you have the floor. Is she with us?
Thank you.
Oh, there she is. Good.
Yes. Trying to turn my camera on. Okay. Good morning. My name is Molly Jose, and I'm a former Baltimore County Public School Board of Education member at large. I served in the Baltimore County Board of Education from December 2018 until April of 2023. I was appointed by Governor Hogan after being selected by the Baltimore County School Board Nominating Commission. I support this bill because it makes the process of selection and nomination transparent to the public. Prior to being selected, like was mentioned before, there was a rigorous process. I had to submit resumes, a detailed questionnaire, and attend an hour-long interview in person held by the commission. I do believe the deliberation of the candidates should be open to the public. This will keep the selection process bias-free and truthful. The members selected by this commission serve over 110,000 children in the district, and they should be candidates that have the best interest in their hearts for all children. All members should be vetted publicly, just as the elected members on the board are. And even though this bill does not address this, the members of the nominating commission should be vetted and held to the same standards as well. Thank you, Delegate Pastor and Senator Sidnor, for bringing forth this bill. I wholly support this bill. Thank you for your time.
And thank you for joining us today. We appreciate your testimony. We have also have Makita Scott, former school board member, also was the chair for a time. Ms. Scott. Okay, we see you, but we don't hear you. Maybe it's a technical thing. Let's, what I'm going to do is call the next person and we'll come back. How does that sound? We also have Marisol Johnson, who's a former school board member. Ms. Johnson.
Good morning. Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay, good morning. As a former member of the Baltimore County School Board, my appointment by both a Democrat and a Republican governor was not complicated, nor was it fully transparent. When I tried to go through the nominating committee years later, I found out some of the members of the committee were deliberately obscure about the process, its applicants, dates of review, timelines, and outcomes. And I found that the board members were unclear about the process and the site wasn't clear as well. I'm in favor of House Bill 495. This allows for open and transparent operations. It aligns with the county's goal of transparency and allows for a smooth process for both the candidates and the committee alike. Live streaming meetings, unedited archived access to those meetings, a timeline, a diversity of location and meeting times are all crucial and part of this bill. And I am once again in favor of House Bill 495. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your testimony and for joining us. And now I see the wonderful, in one of the Hollywood squares, Makita Scott. You have the floor.
Thank you so much. I apologize. I was having some technical difficulties, but good morning, Chair Ebersol and Vice Chair Jackson. My name is Makita Scott, and as you said, I served on the Baltimore County School Board, and I was also the former chair. I thank you all for this opportunity to testify for House Bill HB 0495. I thank Delegate Cheryl Pastor for bringing this forward. The openness and transparency of the nominating committee is crucial to ensuring that the public is fully aware of who the nominating committee is considering as a candidate for the Baltimore County School Board. As it currently stands, the entire process of interview and selection, I feel, is not fully open and available to the public. We, the public, have a right to know who is being considered and who the commission is advancing well before those individuals are sent to the governor for approval. When a person runs for a school board, such as I did, they're subject to all sorts of scrutiny, as are any other candidates running for elected office. Since those nominated are selected to serve alongside those who have been elected to the school board, the public should be able to have the same amount of time to get a well-rounded view of who the commission is selecting. There have been many calls for transparency. This bill ensures that the nominating commission has the same amount of transparency so that our children ultimately have people serving on the Baltimore County School Board who are there to serve the needs of our children, which is ultimately what's most important. I thank you all very much for your time and consideration.
And thank you for joining us. That concludes the testimony. Are there any questions or clarifications? There is an amendment also that's going to be brought forward next week along with this bill at the sponsor's request. So the floor is open for questions or for clarifications. Delegate Naraki, good morning.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. This is just kind of just for my understanding of how the process works. I was looking inside of the bill, and it says that already in law that we have 3 meetings in different council districts. And this could be for anyone that is on the board or was on the board. Do we try to space those out around the county? Because like I have 3 council districts that like come together in one spot in my district. So I wouldn't want to see 3 meetings like, 50 feet from each other. So I'm just kind of curious how that works in practice.
Do any of you that would like to pick that up, I'm fine with.
The answer is it should be, but you want to open it to those who were, Mr. Chair, to those
Yes.
who were appointed.
Anyone who has spoken already who would like to address that question, that'd be fine.
Well, I can tell you that for the specific interview process, that was all conducted at the Baltimore County Public Schools in the Board of Education room. So I didn't experience the moving around to different areas.
Thank you. Delegate Forbes.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. The nominating commission by law has to have 3 meetings in 3 different areas of the counties. And those meetings are to explain the process of applying to the board and what serving on the board means. So that was in the original law. And yes, it has to be in 3 different areas of the county.
Thank you. Are there any other questions or clarifications? Okay, seeing none, that concludes the hearing on House Bill 495. We'll move to House Bill 637. It's an alcoholic beverages bill brought forward by Vice Chair Jackson. I believe also he has an amendment to describe to us because this was originally a statewide bill. Sir, you have the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Good morning, colleagues. Today I'll be presenting HB 637, alcohol beverage sale of delivery for off-premises consumption. An amendment is being offered to make HB 637 specific to Baltimore County only. That amendment is in the delegation Google file. There is also a letter of support from Lib's Grill, which is a bar/restaurant in District 8 in the folder as well. In 2021, during COVID, a statewide bill, HB 12, was passed to allow bars/restaurants to sell mixed drinks on site, to also sell those drinks to go. As amended for Baltimore County, this would mean Class B and D licenses. HB 12 sunsetted last year. HB 637, as amended, would reinstate this law into Baltimore County and allow to-go alcohol beverages to again be sold for off-premise consumption, this time with no sunset. HB 637 says that the Board of License Commissioners for Baltimore County shall adopt regulations to implement the bill. But since the statewide bill had already been passed previously and implemented, these regulations already exist and can easily be updated. In order to sell to-go beverages, the establishment must have a license that allows for the same drinks to be sold on site. The alcohol beverage must be purchased with food to go. The alcohol beverage must be sealed or in a closed container. The alcohol beverage must be purchased before 11 p.m. and the individual purchasing it must be 21 years of older and have proper ID. I believe, Mr. Chair, Jack Milani is on to testify.
You have 1 witness to testify, and thank you. Mr. Milani, thank you for being here. You have 2 minutes. The floor is yours.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'll be brief. This just continues what we had done previously. We had some folks that wanted to bring it back. I know Howard has done it with no problem. I think it's a pretty easy situation because any delivery has to be done by our employees. We're responsible to make sure that it's a person of age, and it's not a thing that can be done unless you order food. So this is really for folks that are looking for mainly specialty type cocktails, something that you might do particularly well when they order their carry out. They'll want those drinks in, and I think it's a pretty good bill. I think it'll help some folks, and that's really all we can say on it. It will work.
Thank you. And everybody's coming in short of 2 minutes today. I'm really enjoying this. And thank you very much for your testimony. The amendment actually will be one that we'll take up first because without the amendment, then it's not a Baltimore County bill. So that we'll do that next week as the very first thing we do on this bill. If for some reason the amendment doesn't pass, then we would not actually take up the bill because it wouldn't be a delegation bill. And is that correct, Vice Chair? I think that's where we are on that.
Yes, sir.
Okay, I want to make sure I was right. That was my impression. Does anybody have any questions about this bill or clarifications? Okay, seeing none, that concludes the hearing on House Bill 637. We'll now go to House Bill 1269. It is my bill. However, I'm going to hand the testimony off to the county government representatives here. This is a bill that was requested by them. So this is by request. I will just tell you that my impression is what we're doing is we're moving the notification of about alcohol into the 21st century by having more of it go online. And with that, I will turn the floor over to Jen Aosa to describe the bill and why we have a need for it.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and members of the delegation. I'm having some connectivity challenges this morning, so I'm going to keep my camera off.
We know what you look like. Thank you.
This bill was requested by the Baltimore County. This bill was requested by the Baltimore County Liquor Board. It would basically allow that notices for things like hearings could not only be posted in a publication like the newspaper, but could also be published online. This is something that other counties have moved toward. We did identify, I think, a drafting error in the bill. So it is not about posting the actual application online. It is about posting notices online. We are working with the Baltimore County Liquor Board, and I believe we have provided amendments to drafting staff. So with that in mind, I'm happy to take any questions about what the bill's supposed to do.
Thank you. And Ever Vigilant, our wonderful DLS council, has drafted all of these amendments, and they're available online. The amendment just reduces, first of all, because we overlooked it, the number of newspapers, and takes them. We used to use, I forget the name of the paper, but it was a paper in Taos, Jeffersonian, I forget. But we could use that, but it's not available anymore. So now it just says in the Baltimore area, and we're going to go down to one newspaper. And as Ms. Ayosa pointed out, the other one is that we're going to only have it be hearings and not the application that will be posted for people to see online. And now, Delegate Ruth, you have a question or clarification.
Thank you. I think my question was just answered by your clarification, but this wouldn't say that they're only posted online. There would still be some type of
we still have, even with the amendment, it would still be one of the newspapers of general circulation in the state of Maryland. Okay, we had to take out the that had to be both in the jurisdiction because we weren't sure that would be possible.
Thank you.
Anyone else with a question or a clarification? Okay, seeing none, that will conclude the hearing on House Bill 1269. We now go to House Bill 1278 and the ever bubbly Delegate Metzger to talk about light emitting diodes at stop signs. Delegate Metzger, you have the floor, sir.
Good morning, Madam Speaker, Mr. Chairman, and of course, my distinguished colleagues from Baltimore County. For the record, Delegate Rick Metzger, Legislative District 6. I've lived in my house now on the corner of Dorsey and Woodward for about 40 years, coming up soon. And whether I'm spending time on my porch with my wife or being briefed by my chief of staff, all types of vehicles drive past. And let me say from the offset, I think that Baltimore County delegation, we're all into this traffic calming and trying to slow people down. But 40 years ago, actually about 38 years ago, I had four-way stop signs placed at my corner. I live by a senior center, Essex Senior Center. It's a pretty good sized senior center. And when people drive past, they fly through the stop signs. In fact, just last week, we had a pretty bad accident right at the corner in front of my house. And at 10:30 last night, there was a couple that came past and wanted to know if they could get the film from my camera outside. But anyway, just to take this safety issue is very, very powerful, and we need to do something about traffic calming. Baltimore County Police Precinct 12 has been issuing about 12 to 15 tickets per day to people that run the stop sign just in front of my house. House Bill 1278 is a pilot program to install LED stop signs at various intersections throughout the Baltimore County area, particularly around schools, senior centers, and high accident areas for a 2-year period. Thank you for your time and consideration. I respect a favorable report. And by the way, I will say that these emissions, they will blink about 100 yards prior to you coming to the stop sign, so they just don't blink all the time. So I respectfully thank you and request a favorable report on 1278.
Thank you, Delegate Metzger. I see Delegate Guyton has her hand raised. So Delegate Guyton, you have the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you, Delegate Metzger, for bringing this bill. I'm all about making the streets safer, as you know. I do have a question about whether you have any data showing that these flashing lights on stop signs are actually effective, particularly long-term. One of the concerns that I have heard when bills like this have been heard in another committee is that people become immune after a while to the red flashing lights, which actually makes us possibly less safe when there are emergencies on the road. So do you know anything about that, or have you looked at any data?
I'm gut level and transparent as I can be. That's why it's a pilot program and a study program. I talked to a gentleman at Mako this past summer, and the idea was implanted. And then when I went to Indianapolis, it was implanted in my head again. So I thought 2 times in less than 3 months, I'm going to take a look at this thing. So I think we need to try something. Thank you.
And thank you for the answer. Delegate Pasteur.
Thank you. I just want to respond to Delegate Guyton's question. Near Woodhome Elementary School, there's a sign to slow down. When I started fighting the developer for a housing project that was being done directly across from the school, one of the things I did ask about was a sign or a flashing light, only to realize that the flashing light and the sign had always been there. There was one that, and I asked my neighbors, people in the development, if they recognized that we had a sign and the lights, and they did not. So after, it's clear that after a while, and because the folks were moving, so we did not. So I'd be real interested in what the study says, because we didn't realize until after I got involved in terms of the development and trying to find a way to slow the traffic right before the school and the community. We were so used to it being there that it really didn't even hit us consciously. So I will be interested in what the findings would be with that.
Just to be clear, these lights go around the stop sign. They're not a red flash. It's around the stop sign. So it's a little different from the flashing light in the community.
Yeah, we had that. I was told we had that as well. So I still would be interested because
thank you.
We got used to it. So thank you.
Thank you. This may impose a mandate on counties, so I want to know if county representatives want to weigh in on this bill during the hearing here.
You know, we just got,
thank-
go ahead.
Go ahead, Delegate.
I was going to say, I just got the bill, so I don't know if they've had time to respond or not.
Let's find out.
Well, that's exactly what I was going to say. The bill text was not posted yesterday, so I just got it to
Okay.
our Division of Transportation this morning. They did suggest to me that in their quick, initial review, that the county does have an existing policy around these types of signs. They're a little bit concerned about the inclusion of State Highway Administration, and whether that might be at odds with the existing policy. So I think what I'd love to do, Delegate Metzger, with your permission, is to come to you and bring some of the questions that they have regarding the selection of the locations and things like that, to see if we can, make this workable for our transportation folks.
As Madam Speaker says, permission granted.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. And of course, you'll have a chance to weigh in with the delegation when we bring it for voting as well, if there's something
Thank you.
substantial that you need to share. Are there any other questions or comments about this legislation? Seeing none, that ends that hearing on House Bill 1278. I've had a request from Vice Chair Jackson just to make a quick point that he skipped when he talked about House Bill 637. You have the floor, sir. Vice Chair Jackson, are you there? He's
Trying to unmute, I think.
I see him. He's not. Yeah.
Oh,
There you
Mr.
are.
Chair. Oh, thanks, Mr. Chair. Colleagues, I forgot to mention Hard Yacht Cafe also sent a letter of support on HB 637, which is the businesses in District 6, just FYI.
Okay. Thank you for that extra. All right. That concludes all the bill hearing portion of our meeting. We're now going to move into voting. I'm going to start with House Bill 58, and I'm going to turn to the subcommittee chair, Delegate Cardin, for a report and a possible motion.
Thank you. Yes, we did. Obviously, we had a long discussion on this bill. Mr. Chair, the subcommittee did not, we did have some discussions, but we did not contemplate any additional amendments at this time. I did talk to some folks who had amendments, and they may look to the committee of jurisdiction as a possible venue. But I would move favorable on the bill as we amended it last week.
So the motion is for the bill as amended at the end of the meeting last week. Is a favorable motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
I've moved and properly seconded. We're open for discussion. Delegate Szeliga.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I make a motion. Well, if there are people on this call I know that have submitted additional amendments, so I do see their hands up now, so I will withdraw my hand and ask that you recognize Delegate Grammer, please.
I see his hand up. Delegate Grammer.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Yeah, so some folks on the delegation had recommended we take a look and revisit the funds that were sent to specifically for traffic calming, because the crux of the problem here is that frankly, any funds that come from speed monitoring cameras are just fungible. They're passed through the budget. They don't actually go to traffic calming devices. And some folks have requested I draft an amendment that approached the situation a little bit differently. I've had a couple conversations, and respectfully, we'd like an opportunity to revisit that issue.
I'm familiar, Mr. Chair.
Yes, please.
I am familiar with the concept, and I think that we just had such a long and arduous time with what we were doing that it was time for us to focus on if we're going to pass this legislation to move it forward, we need to get it moving. And if the committee of jurisdiction thinks it's a good idea, let's do it. And my suggestion, Mr. Chair, might be to talk to the county about it. I think if it's a good idea and they support it, that letter to the committee will certainly suffice to probably get some movement. That would be my suggestion. But I think we just need to move forward with what we have. And because if we delay much longer, this is going to be next week or the week after. I think we just need to move forward.
Thank you for that.
Respectfully, I think we could take 3 minutes to look at an amendment. And the reality is whatever we pass now is going to be a forever solution.
Delegate Kramer, there's a motion on the floor for the bill as amended, and the amendments are not before us right now. There were amendments suggested. The subcommittee didn't take them up. And I have a motion from the subcommittee on the bill as amended. We were at that point last week. We ran out of time. This is a natural next move. Would have been, if we had had more time, we would have done that a week ago Friday. So right now, this amendment's not before us. I appreciate the suggestion. You did submit an amendment. We did give it a fair treatment, and it was not accepted. We moved unfavorable on that amendment, and I think that's where we stand. Delegate Shalega.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Well, I'm reading Mason's manual, and it says that a motion to amend takes precedent over a motion to approve. So I would make a motion that we amend this bill with the amendment that Delegate Robin Grammer just mentioned. And
all right,
so
the first thing we'll do then is
I
second on that motion.
Second.
Okay, so we're going to take a vote on whether or not we're going to take up another amendment. Okay, we're going to move on that motion. If you say yes, you want to delay this again and move to another amendment. So here we go from the top. Vice Chair Jackson. A no vote here is that we're not going to take up the amendment as suggested or moved.
No.
Okay. Delegate Allen.
No.
Delegate Bendari.
No.
Delegate Cardin.
No.
Delegate Forbes.
No.
Delegate Grammer.
Yes.
Delegate Guyton.
No.
Speaker Jones.
No.
Delegate Long, not present and excused. Delegate Mangione.
Yes.
Delegate McCaskill.
No.
Delegate Metzger.
Yes.
Delegate Naraki.
Yes.
Delegate Pasteur. Probably a technical thing.
No.
There we got a no. Delegate Phillips.
No.
Delegate Ruth.
No.
Delegate Stein may be excused. Oh, he's there. Thank you.
And I'm sorry, Mr. Chairman, this is on whether we want to
A vote of no is that we're not going to take up another amendment at this point.
Correct. Okay. Thank you. No.
And Delegate Shalega.
yes.
And Delegate White Holland.
No.
Okay, the vote gets 5 yeses. That is not a majority of the quorum present, so we will not be doing that. We're going to return now to the motion at hand, which is the motion on the bill as amended last week. Is there any further comment on the bill as amended last week? Delegate Grammer, we have moved on your amendment, sir.
I understand on the bill. So just wanted to express my disappointment. Like, this is exactly what we said was going to happen when speed cameras were expanded beyond the original 15 in Baltimore County. They've turned out not to be a solution. We have the same speed problems in my district that we've had since the program was put in place. We were told these were going to help us fund traffic calming. They have not. We've had every opportunity. We've debated this issue several times. We've had every opportunity to help take these funds and put them into actual traffic calming. We actually took a vote not to take a vote when we could have just taken the vote to address the issue. So it's like, what a radical disappointment this program is.
Thank you for expressing that. On the bill, though.
Yeah, on the bill, it's just a huge disappointment.
Yeah.
that we're going to move with a solution that's going to be forever, expanding cameras onto community streets, and we still may not actually achieve any kind of functional traffic calming.
Thank you. Delegate Naraki.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. On the bill, the company that is operating speed cameras in Baltimore County is a company by the name of American Traffic Solutions. This is a company that has a very checkered past, to say the least. Currently, they have a class action lawsuit against them in Missouri. They have a lawsuit against them by the city of Wilmington, North Carolina, for illegally placing speed cameras in that jurisdiction. They have settled a large lawsuit with the city of New York for overcharging the city there for speed cameras. I think that there are a lot of questions about this company in particular. And I think that
I'm not sure you're on the bill, though. The bill doesn't specify who should have the contract.
Right, I understand. I'm about to.
Not whether we have them or not.
I understand. I'm about to make another point. So I think that we did ourselves a serious disservice by removing that extra layer that backs up with the county council there to have further authority over this when we have a company that has a history of predatory behavior operating these speed cameras in Baltimore County.
Okay, thank you. Since we're talking about the county and I see that Jenny Osa's hand is up, I'm going to go to her to respond to that.
Just thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just a point of clarification. The Baltimore County Police Department informed me that the name of the current vendor is it's something like Visa Mobility. So I'm not sure I'm not sure about the vendor that the delegate was just speaking to.
Vero Mobility and American Traffic Solutions are the same company. They operate over both those names. It's the same company.
And we appreciate you highlighting that for us. Delegate Mangione.
Sorry about that. My
no worries.
Computer got stuck there, but thank you. I'll be brief, and I appreciate the intention of the bill, but I just I believe parts of the bill ultimately are going to prioritize money over safety. We're studying putting them in areas where people can and cannot afford to pay the ticket. And I don't want to see anybody in socioeconomic challenged neighborhoods be forced to pay a ticket or a fine that could potentially, we had a very robust conversation about that, have issues whether or not they'll be able to afford it and potentially lead to maybe even losing their license. And I did a little research also, and again, I understand it's well-intentioned, but in Washington, D.C., for example, drivers owe nearly $1.3 billion in traffic fines. So, and it went from, I believe the mayor, they started out, as Delegate Grammer said, at around 140 cameras. That went up to 342 cameras with over 500 just down the line a few years later. So I'm just concerned it'll be a potential issue going forward. Again, I think it's well-intentioned, but at the same time, I just think there's some flaws and I can't support it. So I appreciate you letting me speak on behalf of my opinion.
Appreciate you weighing in. Thank you. Delegate Shalega.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And I think we all agree that we'd like to find ways that we can slow drivers down. There's no one here that doesn't think that public safety is really important. And, the question is, how do we get there? I would contest two major problems. Well, there's at least two problems in the bill. First, I'm not sure why the Maryland General Assembly, the Baltimore County delegation, wants to turn over their ability to regulate speed cameras to the Baltimore County Police Department. It just seems contrary to good government and allowing us to have input. This is a blank check. But secondly, in the research that we've done, there are 41,205 flags on Baltimore County drivers' licenses and car registrations. And what does this do? It stops folks that have speed camera tickets that they have not paid, 41,205 of them, from renewing their driver's license or renewing their vehicle registration. And it also stops people from renewing professional licenses, like your nurses, barbers, etc. So I just think it's preemptive and unnecessary to give a blank check to the county. That will just increase this number. I can think of my foster son who had a hold on his registration for not going to traffic court, and he got pulled over and he got arrested. And, this was the snowball of him ending up in jail. And there are folks where this $40 ticket turns into a $75 ticket. They ignore it, or the ticket never shows up. And it can really be seriously consequential to folks who can't afford to pay their tickets, which clearly 41,205 people, that's not all just, oh, I forgot to pay my ticket. There are some people in serious economic peril, feeding their family and getting to work when their car registration is put on hold. It's canceled until they can pay it. So for those and many other reasons, I would request that all of you protect your citizens and vote against this unnecessary expansion in speed cameras.
Thank you very much. Finally, we're going to come to the chair of the subcommittee, Delegate Cardin.
Mr. Chairman, I hope you guys can hear me. I will tell you that for many of the reasons discussed by Delegate Shalega, I've always had, my issues with speed cameras. I don't think it's any secret. However, the goal of what we're trying to do is to slow people down and to make a more safe environment for our community. Right now, the county already has the ability to put these cameras in 76%. We got that information last week. 76% of the county already has the authority to do it. So this is 24% of the county in the more rural areas that are not within a half a mile of a school district. And if those areas and the police determine that those areas really require us to slow people down because they're being unsafe and that people's lives are in danger, then we should give this enabling authority to the county to consider doing this with the approval of the council, to accept the program, and then all that money that is brought in per the amendments of Delegate Phillips will then go into traffic calming devices. If we want to expand that ability, like the amendment from the failed amendment from Delegate Brammer, to make sure that more money goes into traffic calming devices, then we can do that if this program is successful. But let's test it out and see. And if we're overstepping our bounds, there is a sunset in 10 years to say, whoa, this is too much. I think this is a good, solid, and very modest ability for the county to create a safe environment for our folks. And even though I have issues with speed cameras, I voted against them statewide years and years ago, I'm willing to accept this because the county wants to be able to save and protect its citizens. So I'm going to vote in favor. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. All right, I think we are, I don't see any other hands up, so I think we're prepared to take a roll call vote. The motion is favorable on the bill as it was amended last week. Those amendments are before us, and we even have a reprint of the bill with those amendments in it. And so I'm going to call the roll. Vice Chair Jackson.
Yes.
Delegate Allen.
Yes.
Delegate Bendari.
Yes.
Delegate Cardin.
Yes.
Delegate Forbes.
Yes.
Delegate Grammer.
No.
Delegate Guyton.
Yes.
Delegate, I do it every time. Speaker Jones.
Yes.
Delegate Long is excused. Delegate Mangione.
No.
Delegate McCaskill.
Yes.
Delegate Metzger.
No.
Delegate Naraki.
No.
Delegate Pasteur.
Yes.
Delegate Phillips.
Yes.
Delegate Ruth.
Yes.
Delegate Stein.
Yes.
Oh, thank you for being here, sir. Delegate Shalega.
Yes. No, sorry.
It's a no
No.
vote. Yes. I would have. Delegate White Holland.
Yes.
Okay, there are 13 affirmative votes. That is a constitutional majority of the delegation. This bill is moved favorable and we passed on to the proper committee with a change of sponsor to Baltimore County delegation. Thank you all very much. And with that, we can move on to the next bill, House Bill 741, Northwest County Sports Authority Tourism Facility. This is a community affairs bill, and I turn to Chair of that subcommittee, Delegate Ruth.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. HB 741 requires the Maryland Stadium Authority to study and make recommendations on the feasibility of establishing and operating a sports tourism facility at Reisterstown Regional Park in Northwest Baltimore County. And it requires the Stadium Authority to submit a report by July 1st, 2025. The Community Affairs Subcommittee voted favorable unanimously, and so I move favorable.
We have a favorable motion on the
Second.
bill as written, and I have a second, a proper second. We'll allow for discussion on the bill. Delegate Mangione.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Just a real quick question for the bill sponsor. Before we vote for a feasibility study, I'm assuming that, because I'm learning a little bit about this type of issue in my district, that they have support amongst the different communities, and they may not even have a location or anything yet. I get that, but this is well supporting amongst the local community groups and associations, I assume.
Delegate Phillips.
Yes, so this has not been discussed with the local communities, quite frankly, to be candid. There are very few residential kind of communities directly located beside this facility as it exists today. And the facility, you got to remember, actually exists today. This would be additional activity at that facility, but it has not been discussed with those communities.
And just to be clear, this doesn't create or mandate a sports tourism facility. This is a feasibility study.
Correct.
So going forward, there would have to be deliberate action to make it happen, but depending on the feasibility.
And Mr. Chair, I would hope that
Thank you.
as part of that study, the community would be engaged.
Thank you. Delegate Ruth.
Thank you. And I did just want to mention, when I was researching this, I searched for the location on Google, and there is actually a pin on Google Maps that says Reisterstown Sportsplex right there. So there is already, as we've discussed, facilities there, and it's even marked on the map.
Thank you. Speaking as the chair, appreciate your research on that. Certainly do. Is there any other comment about the bill before we vote?
Mr. Chair?
Yes, sir.
And I apologize, this is late breaking news, and I didn't have an opportunity to review this with Delegate Ruth, the chair. I did speak to MSA, or the executive director of MSA, Gary McGuigan, and they asked for 18 months. So I'd like to offer an amendment to give them 18 months to provide the study.
Okay, so thank God for Delegate Shalega, who pointed out that we can take an amendment up. It takes precedence. So we can, I'm sure, Charity, that if we make that change in spirit, that you can draft a proper amendment for that. Thank you. All right, so go ahead and make your motion, if you would, please, either one of you.
I would move that the due date on the study would be December 31st of 2025.
Okay.
Second.
And I have a second. I'm going to move for acquiescence. If you're against this amendment, please put your hand up on the screen now. Otherwise, we're going to assume we have a unanimous vote. Okay, so that passes by unanimous consent. And now that we have the bill as amended, in spirit as amended, I'd like to take, we'll make sure we'll do a voice vote on this one to be double sure we're okay. So that move favorably as amended. Vice Chair Jackson.
You need a second.
Oh, I think we did have one. I think the chair of the committee moved it.
The previous motion was on the amendment. Now you need to move it as amended, and then you need a second. Yes.
Man, you know, I'm gonna name you're gonna get a new role. You're the parliamentarian now. Okay, just like that.
I don't think you're gonna want to do that, but I
am.
Give me that.
I second making Kathy the parliamentarian.
I've got Nathan's manual.
We can't do that inside of a motion.
You know,
we can't.
I love the rules.
There it is. All right.
I move the bill as amended.
Thank you. Do I have a second on
Second.
the bill as amended?
Second.
Okay, so now the motion is the bill as has been amended inside of the original motion. Vice Chair Jackson.
Yes.
Let's go from the bottom up. Delegate White Holland. I might have caught her off guard
Yes.
here. Okay.
No, I had
Delegate,
to unmute, yes.
Delegate Salega.
Yes.
Delegate Stein.
Yes.
Thank you. Delegate Ruth.
Yes.
Delegate Phillips.
Yes.
Delegate Pasteur.
Yes.
Delegate Naraki.
Yes.
Delegate Metzger.
Yes.
Delegate McCaskill.
Yes.
Delegate Mangione.
Yes.
Delegate Long is excused. Speaker Jones.
Yes.
Delegate Guyton.
Yes.
Delegate Grammer.
Yes.
Delegate Forbes.
Yes.
Delegate Cardin.
Strenuous, excited, yes.
Thank you. Delegate Bendari.
Yes.
And Delegate Allen.
Yes.
Okay, the chair votes yes on this one too. Might as well make it fully unanimous. 19 votes carries a constitutional majority of the delegation. And with that, we will also send this bill with the proper amendment and also amended to being a delegation sponsor onto the proper committee. That concludes our voting. Now we're trading in today a senator for a president, okay, but not the president of the United States. Senator Van Hollen had to cancel on us, and Dr. Kurtinitis has been eager to speak, and we have told her the calendar's full. And I called her at 7 o'clock last night, and she said, "I'm here." Also, I failed to mention to her it was on Zoom, and she was driving down the highway when we caught her and told her to turn around. I think she was fully halfway here, so I owe you an apology, ma'am. And but you have the floor, and you can tell us all the great things that CCBC is up to.
Well, I won't keep you very long, but I have to say, as I was listening to your proceedings, it's fascinating watching government in action, and I give you all a gold star. Actually, that was very interesting to listen to. I am here. Thank you for actually catching me mid-route down. So I got back, and I'm now in my home office, but there's really only one thing that I would like to focus on. Many of you came to our legislative luncheon. Thank you for that. We're always grateful for an opportunity to share all the really terrific things that happen at your community college. But of course, as you know, I am, along with my 15 colleague presidents, very concerned about the BRFA. And I certainly respect and understand the governor's need to put something forward, but we are very much hoping that we can see the BRFA overturned, at least as it affects the community colleges. I don't know whether you've begun to see the press that's followed the House delegation hearing, the subcommittee hearing, but it was I who was a bad girl for a few minutes there and said that this hit us, all of us, like a sucker punch, because it actually was, in fact, not anticipated at all. We have been so grateful to all of you for supporting the CADE formula for the past 2 years, the full funding. And I'll tell you, we are now able to do things we couldn't do before. We're expanding our truck driver training. We're establishing a welding program. We're retooling our automotive people to do electric vehicle maintenance. All of this is what you need, our communities need, for us to be doing, and so much more. But my point is pretty simple. The $22 million reduction that the 16 community colleges will suffer will translate into $4.5 million for the Community College of Baltimore County. And I know you are happy that our college has consistently declared our intention to lead with equity. So we haven't asked our board for a tuition increase since 2018. And that's really the way we want to continue. However, if we lose $4.5 million, I probably will be recommending a tuition increase to the board in June. But even beyond that, because you've given us so much support, we have been able to offer tuition-free attendance at CCBC to 85% of the students who go there, and you know who comes to CCBC. 82% of them come from the most socially and economically vulnerable areas. So when we graduate 13,000 people a year that the reason that the reason that the reduction was made apparently is because of the very spurious justification of declining FTE. Well, everybody's FTE declined during the pandemic, and all of the community colleges are rising back up again. And I'm sure our university colleagues are as well, but they cannot claim, as we do, that 93% of our graduates will remain to live and work right in our region. And that's something that we think is the reason why you all supported us to invest in us the way you did for the past 2 years. Took us 26 years to get the full funding. We got it. We want to keep it. And really, that's kind of my main concern reaching out to you today. I actually believe that you know what we do, you value what we do, and we're so hoping that, the 50,000 students we have this year, we had 49 last year, 50,000 this year, and I know that number is going to keep going up now that COVID and its terrific impact on our communities seems to be easing. And I promise you that what we do with our funding, at this point, we have the ability to invest in our programs in ways that we couldn't do before. And whether you have 10 students or 100 students, you need the money to invest in staffing, in programming, in facilities, in equipment. And that's one of the things we're proudest of having done. So I'm here to plead with you. I'm happy to respond to any concerns that you have about what I'm asking of you. And I'll stop because I see a hand there. Mr. Chair, do you want to call on that?
I get to do that. I also get to say that the community college does good work. You've made that clear to us at luncheons and at meetings throughout. And we certainly appreciate your advocacy and your persistence. These are tough times financially, and I'm hoping that we can listen to you a little bit here. Delegate Cardin.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you, Madam President. You are a cherished part of Baltimore County, and we thank you for all your hard work. For the period that I was out of the legislature, I spent a few years as a consultant in helping you guys. And one of the things that we did is we found you some space to do your truck driver training. We found some real estate that helped you with a contract on getting space to do this, to expand your program. Mm-hmm. And I got to tell you, from a vantage point of actually watching students come and learn how to be truck drivers, something that looks like fun, but I never really understood how complicated it is to make sure that we have safe drivers out there. You guys do God's work there, and we got to make sure that we are maintaining those kinds of programs that create a safe community. So I just wanted to let you know that I experienced it firsthand, and your work is amazing.
Well, thank you. We are now producing over 500 truck drivers a year, and we're investing in growing that program even further. So we're doing our part, that's for sure. Thanks for your help there.
Thank you. Thank you, Delegate Cardin. I don't see any other hands up, so we certainly appreciate you pivoting twice.
Twice, yes.
To come see us today. I certainly appreciate the second pivot. And thank you for being with us today. We'll continue people can interact with you and hear your concerns going forward.
Well, thank you very much. I'm sorry.
Please. I appreciate that you're here. I really do.
Okay. All right. Well, listen, love you all. Please think seriously about helping us sustain where we are. 29 cents to $1 doesn't sound like much, but man, it has made an extraordinary difference in what we can do.
Very well.
All right.
Thanks,
you, everybody. Mm-hmm.
Okay,
Bye.
we have something that wasn't on the agenda, but it's just kind of for the good of the order here at the end. We're going to Delegate Jackson and I think Delegate Ruth. We have a website that they're going to work on for us. And so if Delegate Ruth can share her screen, then she's going to, I think, I don't know which one of you is going to talk, but the floor is either one of yours to speak about that.
Mr. Chair, before Delegate Ruth gets started, I just wanted to remind the colleagues that last year we created an ad hoc committee and we had 3 charges. One was to increase our social media presence, which we have done. By the way, Christian has reached out to a few of the delegates to request your bio information so we can get you up on social media. So please respond to him. The second one was to have a delegate lunch, delegation luncheon in Baltimore County. We did that with the Baltimore County Chamber of Commerce. We're hoping to make that an annual event. And the last but not least is the website. And that's what Delegate Ruth and Delegate McCaskill will be presenting today.
All right, Delegate McCaskill, I didn't have you on the tip of my tongue, and you've been working on this too.
Thank you so much, Mr. Chair and Mr. Chair of the Ad Hoc Project Committee. So as Delegate Jackson said, Vice Chair Jackson, we the Ad Hoc Projects Committee began working on the website last session. We discussed, we looked at examples of other websites and discussed the types of things that we wanted to see on our website. And then over the last year, Delegate McCaskill and I have worked on actually implementing that. And so we did finally get that website set up. And I'm going to share my screen and show that. If you give me just a minute here. Oh, all right. And actually, so I'm going to apologize that I just got a new computer and apparently it's not letting me share my screen because I didn't do whatever security things I was supposed to do. Justin, are you able to share it?
Yes,
I can if you give me a second.
It's just Baltimore County House Delegation. I apologize for that. I should have run a dry run first.
Sorry, I'm not getting it to pop up here.
Not getting the website to pop up or the screen share?
The website when I searched it up.
Well, let me put the link in the chat and so maybe
Okay, great.
You can click it then. And that will help. Oh no, there is no chat. I can't put a link in the chat.
Yeah, they don't activate a chat for us. We discovered it a couple of weeks ago, I'm sorry to say.
Oh, wait. Let me see. I think it's going to let me do it here. Nope, it won't let me do it without quitting Zoom. Sorry.
Well, either for the sake of time, could we just email it over now could we email it to either the delegation as a whole for them to take a look at it and give us feedback, or if we can send the link over real quick and see if Justin can.
Yeah, I can do that. Or are you able to get it up, Delegate McCaskill?
It's glitchy over here at the Maryland end, and which is why I have to keep muting my screen because when I use functions, it keeps making things real glitchy over here. So I'm afraid to move or do anything.
So maybe we should do this next week then. I don't want to hold people.
We could do that. I was trying to work on how we could get it in front of people, but it might be better.
I apologize.
You can see where we are. Yeah.
I apologize, Mr. Chair.
Yes, that's all right. No worries.
No worries.
We'll have time. Delegate Schlegel, I see your hand up.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'd just like to thank everyone for your help and support with the Air National Guard letter. We're going to be sending that out this afternoon, and we'll make sure everybody has a copy of it. We have all but 2 delegation members on that letter. And so Delegate Rocky and I will see the two missing just to make sure you don't want to be on the letter. I know it's crazy time of year to, process all that, but thank you all very much. And we'll get you a copy of that. And lastly, I was wondering if our delegation has any rules of order that we operate under.
I think that we do, and I think I can discuss that with you offline.
Yeah, it's my understanding that we have never adopted any bylaws. So if that is the case, and I will speak with the chairman offline, certainly that's something that we should look into doing. Thank you.
Thank you. All right.
Mr.
Justin's indicating that he's got the website up. Hold on. So maybe we'll back up. Can you display it for us? Ta-da! Look at that. Patience comes to those who wait.
Terrific. Thank you so much, Justin. And I appreciate all of your patience. So this is the website. The homepage, if you just want to scroll down, Justin, a little bit, have our lovely picture from last year. Keep going. There's a welcome from the chair message here. And then this is a footer that's at the bottom of every page with just some general links to the General Assembly website, to the meetings page on the General Assembly website, and for the look up, find my representatives. And the colors on this website were chosen to match the social media colors that Christian developed for the social media. So all our online presence matches. And so if you scroll back up to the top, please. There's a members page, if you click on the link, which has all our lovely photos. It has contact information, our committees, our districts. The photos here, for those who had submitted the survey that was requested for social media, we used the photos that you submitted in the survey. Now that was couple of weeks ago. If you've submitted it recently, then we don't have your photo. If you didn't submit the survey, we used your photo from your page on the General Assembly website. All right, and if you scroll, okay, there we go. There's the last one. And if you have a different photo you'd like to use, or if you haven't submitted the survey, go ahead and submit that survey and we'll fix it. And there again, you can see the footer on every page. So if you scroll back up to the top, please, and click on committees. And this just lists our committees, the chairs and the members. And then if you scroll back up and click on meetings, it has general information about when our meetings are, how to find the live stream. And then every week, Justin will be updating this with the meeting date and the agenda. And then one last thing, if you scroll up to the top on the right, are links to our social media. So that's it. And I want to thank Delegate McCaskill for her help as well. And Delegate McCaskill, did you have anything you wanted to add?
No, Delegate, I think you did a very fine job.
Thank you. Any questions?
Thank you. Thank you for your work, both of you. And thanks to the ad hoc committee for all the things they've done that have expanded the role of the Baltimore County delegation in our community and here in Annapolis. I don't think we have any other business unless for the good of the order, does anybody have anything else that they would like to publicize or tell us about? Okay, seeing none, then I declare that this meeting is adjourned, and I'll see you all in about